Life lift me up, light lift me up, back to where my soul belongs.
Missouri has earned a reputation as the puppy mill capital of the Midwest due to its many filthy, overcrowded, and poorly regulated pet breeding locations where animals suffer a miserable existence. Unspeakable violence is taking place in Missouri puppy mills. Many people do not know what a puppy mill is or how cruelly the dogs in these facilities are treated. Only through education and information can we begin to end their suffering. A puppy mill is any breeding facility that places profit above the welfare of the dogs that they house. Dogs and puppies, crammed into small cages or hutches, are routinely denied veterinary care, exercise, quality food, or socialization with humans. The young are taken from their mothers, often before they are 8 weeks old, and are shipped to the pet stores in the back of sweltering 18-wheelers while the parents remain behind. These poor dogs are bred every heat cycle, often to their own brothers and sisters, producing sick and genetically damaged litters. Life inside a puppy mill is horrible. The dogs often live in wire cages stacked one on top of one another. Since they never get to leave these cages, they spend their entire lives walking on wire, which is very painful and causes misshapen paws. The cages are tiny and restrict movement, so the dogs get no exercise and often have joint and muscle problems. Feces and urine run from one cage into another, so the dogs are constantly surrounded by and covered in excrement. Inside, the air is fetid year-round, sweltering in the summer, freezing in the winter, damp when it rains. If the dogs are housed outside, they face the elements without protection every day of their lives. It is a miserable existence. The only time many of these dogs ever leave their tiny cages is when they can no longer produce puppies. They are then either shot, abandoned, drowned, left in their cages to starve to death, or sold in mass lots at auction to other breeders. Their lives have no value. It is a ghastly ending to a tortured life. Despite the proliferation of these facilities, Missouri's Department of Agriculture has failed to diligently control this problem. According to the state audits released in 2001, 2004, and 2008, the Department of Agriculture is not meeting its obligations. Through this art exhibition, the Missouri Alliance for Animal Legislation seeks to provide access, education, and awareness to foster change and to bring an end to the suffering of thousands of Missouri animals. This show consists of original artwork created especially in support of the cause. The range of artists reflects the diversity of art practices and unites them into one theme. They give voice to the tortured lives of thousands of dogs. Artists from around the state of Missouri submitted their artwork and their reflections on this issue. Artists' statements accompany each piece and add another dimension to this provocative and compelling exhibit. This exhibit will tour the state of Missouri through the winter of 2009. Presented by the Missouri Alliance for Animal Legislation in conjunction with Framations Art Gallery, the Misery in Missouri exhibition directly benefits the Missouri Alliance for Animal Legislation to help enact laws in the state of Missouri to end and hopefully prevent such cruelties from continuing to occur in Missouri. Each artist exhibiting in the Misery in Missouri art exhibition was asked to create an artist statement about how their piece relates to the theme Misery in Missouri. The artist statements following are narrated by gallery owner Amy Wilson. Animals are sacred. Photography by artist Anya Khan of St. Louis, Missouri. All animals and breeds are sacred. Their fight for responsibility cannot go unheard. It is my hope that through art, activism, and speaking out, people will begin to realize all animals deserve a life of care, happiness, and love. As my art depicts, love for an animal does not come in the form of their breed, but the joy that they can bring and enjoy. Please be responsible. Care for an animal here today, not the fads or predetermined breeding of tomorrow. Black and White, a mixed media collage by artist Diana Sappho Bono of Lake St. Louis, Missouri. As an artist, my artwork has always been a celebration of life, regardless of subject matter or medium. As an adult artist, there are situations that demand my attention and my talents. When I was a child, I saw life in terms of black and white, right or wrong. There were no in-between or gray areas. Skewed thinking, like my image of Missouri, is often based in reality. After all, animals are animals. They are not human. I am appalled that Missouri is one of the leading states perpetuating and benefiting from a situation as abhorrent as puppy mills. We are a throwaway society, and the puppy mill industry is a testament to that. Awareness is the first important step. As you are viewing the works entered in this exhibit, think about what you are seeing. Ask yourself, is this just another cause, or something that is worth a second thought? If we would do something as simple as choose a puppy from a reputable breeder or adopting from a shelter, we could make a difference. We need to contact our legislators and let them know that this is a situation we will no longer tolerate. If you are about to purchase a puppy for your family, please consider very carefully where you shop for that puppy. Or would your family be just as happy with a puppy or an older dog from a shelter? Recycled. Photography by artist Jessica Dreyer of St. Charles, Missouri. What will her fate be? Will she be bred to produce countless litters of pups in a puppy mill? Will she replace another breeding dog who can no longer produce more puppies? Will her hundreds of puppies be sold at pet stores only to be recycled through the Humane Societies later? When she no longer can produce puppies for the mills, will she be recycled as fertilizer in the fields or become part of a landfill? While her fate has yet to be decided, her life will continue to consist of hunger, sickness, confinement, and misery in a Missouri puppy mill. When it comes to dogs, recycling should never be an option. Puppy Mill Mama, mixed media photography created by artist Dottie Storer of Missouri. Daisy, a purebred Shih Tzu, was a puppy mill mother in Missouri. She retired at the age of 11 years and was adopted by my next-door neighbor. Although she had been better cared for than most puppy mill dogs, her health was poor and she only lived another 15 months. Prisoners of Profit, photography by artist Anya Khan of St. Louis, Missouri. I am an advocate for the healthy, fair, and kinder treatment of animals. It is clear to see that puppy mills have become an outlet of pain and suffering for an industry based not on treatment but profit. In a time of breed celebrity, made popular by the famous and influential, puppy mills are reaping the rewards of overpopulation, breed degradation, and irresponsible breeding. Dogs Can't Vote, acrylic painting by artist Ken Ferris of St. Charles, Missouri. To my mind, to stop the misery in Missouri, we have to have caring and compassionate elected officials running the government. If we already have laws on the books that are not being enforced, then I think it is our obligation to learn as much as we can about the candidates and vote for the people that we think will be compassionate and enforce the laws to protect our animals. I really believe if a person is not caring and compassionate about animals, then they will be just as uncaring and uncompassionate when it comes to us. So dogs can't vote, but I can. Forever Silent. Digital photography by artist A. Wilson of Florissant, Missouri. Many puppy mill owners silence their breeding dogs in their puppy mills to keep them from barking and raising attention to their facilities. They often silence these dogs by ramming a steel rod down their throats and thereby shattering their vocal cords. These dogs will never again be able to cry in agony when they are in pain, or if lucky enough to be rescued, bark happily when their new owner adopts them. Basset Hound number 597, an acrylic on canvas by artist Emily Saltzgaver of Aurora, Missouri. When I look into the eyes of a dog, I see love, loyalty, and vulnerability. Their eyes are capable of telling a powerful story if we are willing to listen. Basset Hound number 597 is about courage and the amazing spirit of an ordinary dog. It is about survival. There are so many nameless dogs that need our help. Are we ready to listen? Wanted, Good Owner. Pen and Ink by artist Shauna Carraz of New London, Missouri. Once again, I was forced to look at animal cruelty for this show, and once again, I could not believe that we even have to have an art show to help correct this problem. The words cruelty and animals should never, ever be in the same sentence together. It is impossible for me to understand the kind of world we live in where this is a concern. Please help us stop the puppy mills in Missouri and put an end to senseless animal cruelty. Lucky Dogs. Print by artist Ken Ferris of St. Charles, Missouri. This family of rescued pets lives the good life with their family in a warm, loving home with lots of space to play. Not all pets are so lucky, though. Over 4 million dogs alone are put to sleep each year because there is not enough people to adopt them from shelters. Why do people still buy dogs and cats from pet stores? Why do they feed an industry of cruelty when they could be a hero to a special shelter pet? If consumers adopted instead of purchasing pets, puppy mills would shut down. There would be no financial reason to stay open, and if there is no money to be gained from the cruelty, then the cruelty would end. Wishful Thinking. Photography by artist Jessica Dreyer of St. Charles, Missouri. I am a Yorkshire Terrier, the 9th most popular breed in the United States. Unfortunately, this makes me vulnerable to be one of the top breeds to be cruelly abused in puppy mills alongside other breeds of all shapes and sizes. A countless number of breeding Yorkshire Terriers can be housed in a very small area and can easily be hidden from the authorities. Recently, 200 of my relatives were rescued from a suburban garage. Their breeder was turned in by a neighbor. I'm cute, smart, cuddly, and worth my weight in gold, but I wish I could speak. I would have so much to say. But most of all, I wish I could vote so I could help pass legislation to help all creatures who are victims of these greedy breeders. Oliver, a charcoal by artist Sandy Karsten of O'Fallon, Missouri. I am a dog lover, and I especially love the dogs that are forgotten at the humane societies. If no one sees them, I do. I have brought home many dogs this way. The cruelty of puppy mills is just that, cruel. Puppies are living things and affectionate if treated with affection. Save the Puppies, an oil on panel by artist Lisa Ober of St. Charles, Missouri. How do we save the dogs and puppies from Missouri puppy mills? I think the best thing that we can do is change the laws to make it so hard for these mills to operate that they stop being in business. The penalties need to be raised and enforced so that puppy mill owners have real fear of prosecution. So get out and vote. Make sure your representatives in Missouri know how strongly Missouri cares about animal welfare. Change the laws and change a dog's life forever. With any luck, I'll be able to help dogs like this little pup in my own way through the sale of these paintings. This painting is part of a series I have created in an effort to help shelter dogs find permanent and loving homes. The subjects are actual shelter dogs and puppies. This puppy is from the Marion Animal Shelter at which my sister volunteers. So many dogs and puppies from puppy mills wind up in animal shelters. Please opt to adopt your next furry friend. Saving Daisy. Photography by artist Virginia Heisler of St. Peters, Missouri. Daisy was called a flawed dog and therefore was discarded by a puppy mill as unsellable. Flawed Dogs, a puppy mill rescue group in Missouri, rescued her and gave me the opportunity to enjoy this sweet little girl. Daisy was extremely frightened of people when I brought her home and had a bad cough, most likely kennel cough contracted in the puppy mill before she had been discarded. Even with vet care, because of her small size, the cough developed into pneumonia and Daisy almost died. She is pictured here in the hospital trying to stay alive. She did live, and is a very important part of our family. Daisy was saved. I wish I could save them all. I think Daisy is perfect. Cold Wet Noses Warm the Heart, an oil on panel by artist Lisa Ober of St. Charles, Missouri. Each time I paint one of these puppies, I remember my own dogs as puppies. There's nothing like the smell of a puppy and those cold little wet noses. A puppy's first 6 to 8 weeks should not be in a filthy, overcrowded puppy mill. Puppy Mill Companion. Photography by artist Jessica Dreyer of St. Charles, Missouri. While many people think the term puppy mill means substandard commercial dog breeding operations, there are far more than puppies being produced. Catteries have been found to operate alongside abusive puppy mills. And along with the dogs and the cats, don't be surprised to hear about the birds, small mammals, reptiles, and many other animals being mass-produced through pet breeding operations and then sold through retail pet stores. More than 90% of all animals sold in pet stores are the products of mass breeding operations. Please bypass the pet stores and opt to adopt from an animal shelter. Please adopt me. An oil on panel by artist Lisa Ober of St. Charles, Missouri. Aw, their little faces are so heart-tugging, aren't they? Who could resist adopting one of these little fuzzballs? Woof 1, Be My Voice, a digital photography collage by artist Carolyn Schluter of St. Charles, Missouri. Hopefully, the voice in this picture and all of the entries in this Misery in Missouri art exhibition will make people more aware of the Missouri Alliance for Animal legislation and help bring an end to the horrific and cruel conditions man's best friend suffers in puppy mills 365 days of the year. Hoping for a Home, an oil on panel by artist Lisa Ober of St. Charles, Missouri. Not only do puppies from animal shelters need good homes, but so do the rescued mothers from the Missouri puppy mills. After spending their lives confined, without human contact, in filthy conditions, they need extra love and support to become the dogs that they were meant to be. So many dogs and puppies from puppy mills wind up in animal shelters. Please adopt your next friend. Boycott Puppy Mills and Dance the Muckcracker Suite, a mixed media collage by artist Jill Flynn of Glasgow, Missouri. The dogs in this piece are expressing their joy of being rescued. Puppy mills are prisons of greed. Why buy a purebred dog when so many millions are waiting to be rescued? Taking a hands-on approach to this thought, we currently have 27 dogs in our out-of-pocket no-kill shelter funded solely by artwork from the dogs that inspire us with their stories and antics. A few miles from a puppy mill north of Glasgow, Missouri, we received 2 starving, heartworm-positive, abandoned pregnant dogs. They were obviously bred by an assortment, as the 16 pups between the 2 of them were a variety of colors, spots, and brindles. They are all doing well now, grateful and living the good life. Forgiving creatures of hope that they are, they live in the moment and give back to us more than we ever give to them. It is this joy which radiates from the dogs through my mixed media paintings. The subject matter is from my life. I always say, when life gives you abandoned dogs, make abandoned dog art. Skeleton Puppies, the set of 4, created by artist Molly Chenard of Missouri. I started working on pieces for this show to help raise awareness about the horrors that go on in puppy mills. I knew bad things were happening. I'd heard rumors, but I wasn't really prepared to see them for myself. The research for this show was very gruesome and difficult to get through. There were many times when I had to force myself to keep going, and several of the images will haunt me forever. It has made such an impression on me that I feel it is important to share my newfound knowledge. Many of the puppy mill puppy images that I found were emaciated and pathetic. In the Puppy Skeleton series, I wanted to take that thought further. The colors, the looseness of the drawing, and the background were intended to create an eerie atmosphere, almost like the subjects had just been excavated. It was important to me that people see the ultimate results of puppy mills. Dr. Schnauzer, created in acrylic by artist Ken Ferris of Missouri. As an artist, this has been a very rewarding project for me to work on. I love dogs and I love a challenge. The challenge was coming up with an approach to the theme on this competition and then executing it in the time available. The first painting I created for this exhibit was Dr. Schnauzer's class. The concept evolved after I started making a list of everything a puppy is, besides being biodegradable. Photography by artist Jessica Dreyer. 1 puppy mill. Hundreds of puppies. Saving the mother dog's life? Priceless. When I was photographing these puppies in a pet store window, I noticed a sign at the checkout counter that said, "Our puppies do not come from puppy mills." It was food for thought. Where do they come from then, since 99% of the dogs sold in United States pet stores come from puppy mills? Don't believe everything you read. Scenic Puppy Mill, created in mixed media by artist Molly Chenard. This piece was challenging to pull off. Scenic Puppy Mill depicts this utopian place where puppies are raised and loved before being adopted out. It's only once you notice something isn't quite right with this image that you really see the full picture. This piece depicts the face that puppy mills put onto the public, when in reality only horrors lie within. Trash or Treasure, created in acrylic by artist Diana Sappho Bono of Missouri. As an artist, my artwork has always been a celebration of life, regardless of subject or medium. Anyone who has had the pleasure of seeing a newborn puppy and watching them develop, no matter what breed or combination thereof, knows how precious and beautiful they are. Life should be treasured, and animals, especially dogs, enrich our lives in ways too many to number. As a Missourian, I am appalled that we are one of the top states perpetuating and benefiting from a situation as abhorrent as puppy mills. We are a throwaway society, and the puppy mill industry is a testament to that. Awareness is the first important step. If people would do something as simple as choosing a puppy from a reputable breeder, or better yet, adopting from their neighborhood animal shelter, we could make a huge difference. As you are viewing the works entered in this show, think about what you are seeing. Ask yourself if this is just another cause, or is it something worth a second thought? And if you are about to buy a puppy for your family, please consider very carefully where you will make your next purchase. Buddies, a mixed media sculpture by artist Suzanne Lowry of Swansea, Illinois. Everybody needs a best friend. What would you do for your best friend? Would you do absolutely anything to make her happy? Would you promise to love her, take care of her needs, and keep her safe from harm? What about man's best friend? Will you help to pass legislation to do the things that you just promised? Friend or foe? Photography by artist A. Wilson of Florissant, Missouri. When we purchase a pet from a pet store, the staff becomes like your best friend and tells you that the puppies came from a responsible breeder. How can that be when over 90% of dogs sold in pet stores come from puppy mills? Are they really your friend, or are they your foe? St. Bernard Rescue Dog, created with mixed media by artist Molly Chenard. The St. Bernard Rescue Dog was originally created to promote hope, but the mood in the painting suggests otherwise. It was created with the idea in mind that there is already a lot being done to help the cause, but more help is needed. There is only so much that a St. Bernard with a keg full of medical supplies can do. Life Sentence by photographer and artist Jessica Dreyer. I visited the Humane Society several times, and each time it got more difficult knowing that not all of these animals would find a home. The eyes on this 1-year-old female became a haunting reminder to me of her possible plight. If she could only talk. She was a stray picked up in the county. Was she turned loose to be on her own? Was someone looking for her? Did she jump a fence? I called her Sweetie and would give her treats each time I stopped by to take pictures. I always made a point to visit her and to talk to her as if someday she might answer me back. One day when I came, she was gone, her cage occupied by yet another stray. I asked him what happened to Sweetie, but he just cocked his head and let out a little whimper. Dogs of the Alliance, a print by artist Ken Ferris of St. Charles, Missouri. One of the best reasons to create art is to spotlight social issues that are close to my heart. Over the last couple years, I have been commissioned to create many dog portraits for members of the Missouri Alliance for Animal Legislation. These lucky dogs have owners who are passionate about the welfare of animals. If all Missouri pet owners voted, we could defeat puppy mills in Missouri. Puppies and potting soil do not mix. Photography by artist Jessica Dreyer. One of God's creatures, yet so many are thrown aside without any remorse whatsoever. It's a business without a conscience that doesn't care that puppies are living, breathing animals that have personality and feel pain, that their parents are only fed and watered to produce and not to love and be loved back. To think that there are people in our society in this day and age whose only concern for these animals is quantity and quality and supply and demand is reprehensible. Puppy Sale, a mixed media painting by artist Marie Masson of Weston, Missouri. The puppy mill misery is not such an easy subject. I think we all want to turn our head away from this unthinkable cruelty. Breaking the circle that creates this horrific situation is the key. My painting attempts to show that circle. Got the Puppy Mill Blues, created in ink by artist Ken Ferris of Missouri. The credit for the idea for this piece, and my favorite piece, goes to my wife, Dee. We were discussing possibilities for titles for entries into this competition, and she came up with Got the Puppy Mill Blues. I thought this was such a good title because to me it sums up my feelings about the subject of this show. Infinite Number of Puppies for Sale, a watercolor by artist Lori Cotton of Missouri. Road to Nowhere, blighted area with cages going on forever. Infinite number of cages, one escaped puppy looking back. Farm located in the hills of Pennsylvania. Tortured Animals, created in ink by artist Shauna Caro of Missouri. Tortured animals. Those two words should never go together. Unfortunately, they do quite often. Most animals are quite helpless against us. They only want to be loved and be loved. They are just like children. They reflect what they are taught. If they are beaten or tortured, they will of course become mean. Why that should ever happen is beyond me. Animal cruelty is as offensive to me as any other crime, maybe worse. Animals cannot protect themselves against inhumane people. My wish is to stop animal cruelty. They are all just little kids needing good homes. Jaliza Roses, photography by artist Larissa Rook of Belgrade, Missouri. This photo is of a working dog. She lives on our farm and watches over a flock of goats. She is half Great Pyrenees and half Coonhound. We could have gone to a breeder or puppy mill to obtain a full-bred Pyrenees, but we chose to adopt a mixed breed puppy who needed a home. She is an amazing dog that exceeds expectations. Please consider adopting a stray or mixed breed instead of supporting puppy mills. You won't be disappointed. Auctions Today, a set of 2. Created in ink by artist Ken Ferris of Missouri. This set of paintings are really about dog auctions, from which many of the breeding dogs from puppy mills are acquired. The drawing was inspired by a conversation I had with Amy Wilson. She painted a vivid picture with words as she described her thoughts about how we would feel if suddenly we had visitors who did to us what is commonly done to our best friends. Caged Without Cause by photographer Jessica Dreyer. He is a puppy less than a year old. He is housebroken, good with kids, loves other dogs and cats, and knows several commands. He was surrendered by his owner to the Humane Society. Why was he surrendered if he was such a wonderful dog? I'm sure he thought, what have I done so wrong to be caged without cause?
Life lift me up, light lift me up, back to where my soul belongs. Some days seem so dark, dark as the winter seems long. It just doesn't seem right to be sad about this gift of life. Life lift me up, life lift me up, light lift me up, light lift me up, back to where my soul belongs. Some moments seem so wrong, wrong as the minutes seem long, time has stopped. Life lift me up, life lift me up, light lift me up, light lift me up, back to where my soul belongs. This body is breathing. This heart is beating. My soul is screaming out for love, out for meaning. Life lift me up, life lift me up, light lift me up, light lift me up, back to where my soul belongs. Life lift me up, life lift me up, light lift me up, light lift me up, back to where my soul belongs. Show me beautiful, show me lovely, show me life the way it was meant to be. Show me peaceful, show me sanctuary. Show me love the way you feel it for me. I've been all over the world, and I'm looking for something more. Well, I've been asking, seeking, knocking on your door. Show me something more. Show me beautiful, show me beautiful, show me lovely, show me life the way it was meant to be. How is it meant to show be? Me peaceful, show me sanctuary, show me love the way you feel it for me. How do you show me beautiful, show me lovely, show me life the way it was meant to be. Show me peaceful, show me sanctuary, show me love the way you feel it for me. How do you love me anyway?
In closing, it is the great shame of our state that so many animals in Missouri live their entire life in misery. By educating the general public about the day-to-day suffering of the thousands of puppies and dogs coming from Missouri puppy mills and working with our legislators, we hope to change the future for these animals. Become educated about the laws that affect our day-to-day lives and the animals in our state by joining the Missouri Alliance for Animal Legislation. To learn more about the Missouri Alliance for Animal Legislation, please visit www.maal.org. Call, write, or email your legislators. Let them know how you feel about animal welfare issues in the state of Missouri and give voice to the thousands of animals that cannot speak for themselves.
Show me beautiful, show me beautiful, show me lovely, show me lovely, show me life the way it was meant to be. How is it meant to show be? Me peaceful, show me sanctuary, show me love the way you feel it for me. Show me love the way you feel it for me.